Time is 7:30, and tonight's meeting, Emmitsburg Planning Commission shall come to order. Let's begin with everybody please standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, for the opening statement, I'll turn it over to Mayor Briggs for some introductions.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, welcome to our new liaison, Commissioner Ritz. I'd like to introduce Dr. Franklin. He's the Vice President of Student Life at the university. He's a new member of our community, moved here about a year ago and lives over here in Southgate. But I think just want to formally introduce him to you, and he's a wonderful member of our community. Thank you. I hope you have a great meeting, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And welcome, Bernard. We look forward to all our many times together. And
Look forward to it.
also need to welcome Joe Ritz with us, who is now the liaison from the Board of Commissioners, who will now be with us at our meeting. So, Joe,
Thank you.
welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Okay, the first thing we have on our agenda, item number 4, will be the election of a vice chairperson. This became a vacancy with the election of Frank Davis to the Board of Commissioners, and he did hold the position of vice chairperson of this Planning Commission prior to that time. So we do need to elect someone to take that vacancy over tonight, and we'll hold that position until we have our next annual elections, will be at the end of January. So basically, the person having this position with us tonight will hold that title for the next basically 3 months. For the election, we simply ask for a nomination from the Planning Commission, and there's no seconds necessary with the nomination. And so with that, would somebody like to please make a nomination for vice chair of the Planning Commission? Anyone?
So,
Yes.
as far as longevity on the board, I guess Joyce has seniority here. Are you interested in the position, Joyce?
Yeah, I'll take.
I'll nominate Joyce.
Nomination has been made for Joyce. Any other nominations? Would someone please close the nominations? Do I have someone to please close the nominations? Anyone? Anyone to
The
close?
motion, we close the nominations.
Nominations are closed. So we have one nomination. We'll go ahead and go through the formality of electing and voting on the one nominee. Those in favor of Joyce becoming the vice chair of the Planning Commission for the remainder of this term, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Joyce, welcome. You're now the vice chair.
Thank you.
Okay, item 5, we have the disposition of the minutes from our last meeting, which was held on the 30th of September. Is anyone not seen those minutes? Everybody has. Are there any additions, corrections, or changes to be made to those minutes?
Done.
I'll make a motion that the minutes from the September 30th meeting be accepted.
Motion has been made to accept those minutes by Joyce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It has been seconded by Joe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Minutes are approved. Okay, item 6, old business. There is none indicated for us this evening. We can go right on down to item number 7, which is new business. New business, as you see on the agenda, identifies a project, Dunkin at the Silo Hill, lot number 3, to be reviewing the site plan for that project. Zach, would you like to give us a presentation on this matter?
Sure. First, I'd like to say welcome to Joe and Bernard. We have a busy schedule ahead of us, so it's a great time to be on the board and looking forward to working with you guys. So we are here tonight, well represented by the proposed Dunkin' Donuts. Mr. Rick Curry is in the front here. Mr. Shatel Patel is in the back, who would be the owner of the proposed Dunkin', and also the architect. I'm sorry, I missed your name. Jason Scott is here for the plan too. So this is a site plan. This is the proposed Dunkin' on the screen. Let's see. So it's going to be located at 103 Silo Hill Parkway in the general commercial zoning district. The proposed project consists of converting the Silo Hill Car Wash into an 1,860 square foot Dunkin' fast food restaurant with drive-through operations. The applicant proposes to eliminate the 2 eastern self-service washing bays, and renovate the remaining 1 automatic and 2 self-service washing bays. Stormwater management for the development is provided by the existing stormwater management pond directly adjacent to the site. In addition, 2,215 square feet of impervious pavement will be removed and replaced with grass and other plantings. The proposed use of the property is consistent with the town's zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan. You're going to see our timeline provided on the staff memo. Also, the agency reviews. We had one more to add since I handed out the packets, the Vigilant Hose Company. They had one comment. They just want to be contacted when they start construction to ensure the right standpipe is placed on the building and the right fittings on the building. So we'll make sure they have their contact information. So the applicant is requesting 2 modifications. The first is to allow a 13-foot bypass. Let's see if I can get this working tonight. A 13-foot bypass, if you see on the screen right here, to the left of the building, instead of the required 15-foot drive aisle. And also a modification to allow 15 parking spaces instead of 16. Town staff supports both of these modification requests. In regards to the comments, Mr. Chairman, would you like me to go over each one, or?
I think it would be appropriate.
Sure, I can do that.
It'll take a little bit of time, but I think that because your proposed motion does involve quite a few conditions.
Sure, I can definitely do that.
This will certainly come up during our discussion about each and every one of those. So could you kind of quickly go through
Absolutely.
those conditions for
Sure.
approval?
So since the land disturbance is under 5,000 square feet, the applicant is exempt from stormwater management, and I confirmed this with Frederick County Engineering. Town staff commends the applicant for removing over 2,000 square feet of impervious surface, and that we ask that they consider mulching and planting flowers, and I'm happy to announce that they did agree to that. Let's see. So they're going to be putting some red maples here and some other, I think they're spice berries, bushes here and over here. So that's going to make it look a lot nicer in the area. The proposed 15-foot drive aisle shown to the north, which is right here, is 15 feet. Our engineer recommended possibly expanding it to 19, but we believe it would be appropriate to 15 unless the board just wants something else, wants it bigger.
Can I interrupt here?
Yes, absolutely.
On that point. So why is it that it was recommended to expand it to 19? And why is it not required?
Sure. So I'm guessing if a big truck, parks here, one of those long F-350s park here, it might be a little difficult to back up with the drive-through coming here. However, I spoke with the applicant, and most municipalities have shorter parking spaces. We're at 20 feet. Most municipalities are either 18, some are even as low as 15. So we think it would be appropriate we recommend that it could stay the same. We don't see it being any kind of a problem. On to the next page. So eastbound Maryland 140 left to Silo Hill Road. The existing storage length is 85 feet. So here is the storage length right here. That's 85 feet, the left turn signal there. And the developer suggested to extend the storage length by additional 25 feet. So just going back a little bit more here. Our traffic engineer found that this would still lead to a deficiency since the 95th percentile queue lengths are projected to be over 225 feet, which is all the way back into here. So our engineer recommended that the town coordinate with SHA, which is State Highway Administration, on an improvement to this movement that is longer than 25 feet and closer to 225 feet. So I reached out to SHA, and they stated minor adjustments to the flat run bridge replacement plan can be made to give approximately 50 feet more capacity in this turn lane. Additional widening is not viable. The current construction contract of flat run the bridge will cover the striping revisions. However, the applicant shall verify this with SHA. I verified that SHA won't budge. They don't want to extend this bridge project anymore. So they're going to do the 50 feet extra for the applicant, so that's going to save them a few dollars there. So even if we wanted 225 feet, SHA said no.
Okay.
So another comment that our engineer had was the applicant shall demonstrate that a semi-trailer delivery truck can maneuver around the site. It's not 100% appropriate. We are recommending, which I'll talk about a little later in the memo, that the parking along the roadway here be eliminated. So if a tractor trailer would come back here to deliver any kind of food to Dunkin', they could just park here. It wouldn't be appropriate to go around the turn. So we believe the size of the site will be sufficient.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Joe?
Then by eliminating that parking, the 19 feet recommended that we're going to, that we're voting on tonight for 15 feet, would that adversely, I guess, I'm assuming that would not adversely affect any tractor trailer movement?
Oh, for the side here?
Yes.
For the side? No, there will never be, I spoke with the applicant, there would never be a tractor trailer going through here. They have more delivery and box trucks, which I believe he stated that a box truck can navigate through this turn.
So we're not going to see anything like we do at McDonald's?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And if it would ever be necessary again, they could park right here.
I can't see your pointer.
I know, let me see
Where
if
are you
I-
pointing at?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a picture of that. Let me see.
Right hand side there?
Let me see if I can.
Bottom?
Yeah, it was
I don't know why I can't see it.
Let's see.
It's eluding me.
Yeah, it's not the best picture. But it's right here. This is Silo Hill Parkway,
Okay.
and then you turn left to go into Dunkin'. So it's right here. This is all parking right now.
Thank you.
So we are recommending that we eliminate the parking there.
That answers my
Okay.
So Zach, are you saying that the area on the site plan indicating a loading zone, that would be eliminated?
No, sir. The loading zone will remain. This is the grassy area with sidewalks right here. It's going to be right there. Let me see if I can, let's see. Here we go. That's a better picture. Right here. You see these parking spaces? There's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These will be eliminated. So a tractor trailer could technically park there if necessary.
Okay.
Any more questions for that? Okay. So going down to the subdivision and zoning, in accordance with town code of the zoning code, general note number 12 shall be corrected to read, in-kind landscaping shall be installed and or replaced where absent, and screening via a 6-foot solid tall fence shall be installed along the entire rear lot line of the town's satisfaction. So I'm showing here the red is where they are required by the zoning ordinance to have a 6-foot tall solid fence. On the current plan, they're just showing behind lot 6. However, per our code, it needs to be along the entirety of the project, and that's to protect the rear property owners from noise pollution, light pollution, etc. Let's see. Also, in this green section here, it's currently does not have any kind of landscaping at all. So the applicant did add trees. Also, I believe there's 16 tree stumps along this back. Over the years, these trees have just died. We need those replaced. All right, and they should install and replace with in-kind landscaping, which is the evergreen trees. Any questions on the fence requirements? Going on, clearly delineated pedestrian crosswalks shall be provided to allow safe and convenient access according to the zoning ordinance. We are requesting crosswalks to be added here at the entrance and here. Let's see if I can get you a better picture. And right here. People coming from town, if they're walking, need some kind of safety designation there. So the number 3 and 4, the applicant did provide, and I delivered you updated packets. They provided the landscaping plan, which is shown here, and the lighting plan, which was reviewed by staff, and we are satisfied with its findings. Building restriction lines shall be added to the plan. These are basically front yard setbacks, rear yard setbacks, side yard setbacks. Stop sign and stop bar shall be added to the exit of the lot. All existing easements shall be shown in Liber folio referenced on the plan. Number 8 has been
Could you,
satisfied.
excuse me.
Sure.
Can you go back? Could you explain the term Liber folio, please?
Yes, absolutely. It is book and page number of the easement documents. So if you have an easement in your property, at some point they had to take that to Frederick County and get it recorded. So it's going to show you that book and page number of the recording. So it's easy to access in the future. Number 8 was satisfied. This is parking spaces are labeled as 9 by 20. However, 3 spaces are only measured at 17 feet. They did correct this problem. Number 9, ADA access from the public right-of-way to the front door shall be provided. So they need to provide an ADA ramp at this location right here. Right now it's this grass area going to a little sidewalk, so it has to be a ramp there, and a ramp needs to be placed right there.
Where's that second one?
Sure. It is right at the top here.
Right up here.
See the light?
It's hard to see that thing. I see it now. But
It's right in front of the handicap space.
Yeah, I see it.
So if this handicap space happens to be filled, and if a handicapped person wants to park over here, they need to have access to that ramp. Let's see. And that took care of number 10 too. The entire lot shall be shown on the plan. That was corrected. Basically, at the top right corner of your plan sheet, there is a vicinity map. It just had to show on the vicinity map. On the next page, horizontal and vertical datum, as well as boundary and topographic survey sources shall be referenced on the plan. This is basically just stating where they received their survey elevation data from. Number 14, a compact vehicle-only sign shall be placed at the rear of the compact parking space, which is shown to the right of the screen, right before the landscaping. For traffic, we already discussed this. The applicant shall paint the curbing in front of the lot and along the street yellow, add no parking signs, and remove the white parking lines. And again, that's up at the front, where we spoke about the tractor trailer. The applicant shall comply with and construct all traffic improvements as are required by Maryland SHA, and I'll let the applicant discuss any requirements that are needed. An erosion and sediment control plan shall be submitted to and approved by the Catoctin and Frederick Conservation District. This is basically so while they're digging up all this asphalt, there is a storm drain right here at the bottom corner of your screen, just to ensure that the dirt and debris don't go into the storm drain and then go over to the pond and cause problems with that. We requested a note be placed on the plan stating that written notice of intent to start work must be provided to the town no later than 10 business days. This is to ensure that our public works crew are aware of the conditions. So they have two options with number 19. They can provide the sidewalk improvements and landscaping right away, or they can provide a financial security. It's up to them. The applicant shall pay such fees that are charged from time to time for further reviews. And then the next, number 21 was just put there for their knowledge of all the permit applications that we have in town, such as the alteration of infrastructure, that's for your water and sewer. Cross connection, that's your backflow preventers, your zoning permits for your signage, your zoning permit for the change of use, changing it from a car wash to a convenience store, and then construction, and then they also will need a grease trap. And obviously, Frederick County building permit. Are there any other questions?
Joe, do you have any questions for Zach at this point?
The fence.
Yes.
Touch on the fence again, just to make sure. The existing fence is where?
So there is existing fence along the entire back portion of all of these lots, and they are owned by each of the residents.
Yes.
So we need so that won't count on this site. So we need a uniform 6-foot fence on the rear of this property that's maintained by the Dunkin property owner. So right now they're proposing just along the back of lot 6. However, if this fence would deteriorate, they might remove it. So it's not uniformity, but they have agreed to this proposal.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, Joyce, do you have any questions?
No, mine was already answered.
Okay, okay. Mark?
So this really doesn't have much to do with the application, but I'm just curious about the strip of land behind the Exxon there. Do you know how that came about, why this was configured that way?
I was speaking with the mayor, and he stated at one point there was possibly going to be a drive
That's what I was
going
wondering.
back this road. However, the elevations is just not possible.
Yeah, I mean, is
So-
there an easement or anything through there?
We have an easement for sewer and water.
Okay.
However, there's not an easement for a road back there.
Okay. Just curious. Other than that, I have no further questions.
It's a very unique lot.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Bernard, do you have any questions?
Good, thank you.
You're good, okay. Okay, now we have, and I have no questions at this point anyway. We have some people who have signed up to talk about the project, and we'll take them in the order we have them here. Rick Curry, would you,
The applicant, so I'm not with the public, but I'm with the applicant, so
okay,
whenever you're ready for me.
well,
it's now.
we're ready for you.
Alrighty. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, commission members. My name is Rick Curry with B&R Design Group. We're the civil engineer for the project. Also, as Zach mentioned, Mr. Patel and Mr. Scott is here also. On behalf of the application, I'd like to thank town staff for their help in this process. It's been very beneficial to us. At this point, we really don't have any issues with the staff report. We realize a lot of things are needed on the site that's mentioned. A lot of the comments are kind of cleanup comments, informational comments that are on the plans, and we'd be happy to address those and provide new plans to Zach for those comments to clean them up. And we would ask for your conditional approval to do that tonight, and be happy to answer any questions that you have at this point concerning any of the issues that have brought up that Zach discussed, or any questions that you may have.
Okay, very good. I'm sorry. Joe, do you have any questions at this point?
I don't at this time, thank you.
Okay, Joyce,
No, I'm okay.
Mark, Bernard?
No, I'm good, thanks.
I'd just like to ask you a little bit, I'm sorry,
I said it's being pretty thorough, and I
okay. I kind of like to ask a little bit about the, on the site plan, the turning radiuses that are shown in there for getting around the building. You feel comfortable with those dimensions, especially coming around that left lower corner, that 10-foot radius inside? How do you feel
Yeah,
about that?
those are always, that's why we put a bollard right there for most of the time, because those are always the tight spots in these buildings.
Yeah.
And other than truncating the building or pushing the curb way out past the, way out there so that you get a lot of room in there to try to make that maneuvering around there. There's really not a whole lot you can do there other than just protect the corner of the building. And, people have to, the curb line is there, obviously, to keep your car from getting over into the building. The bollards there just as added protection, but trying to keep the curb line away from the building as much as possible and get that bollard in there. That's typical of what I've done on every fast food restaurant I've got. And some sites, and when you're trying to retrofit a site like this, you don't have a lot of room. So if it was a brand new site, we could be able to push that out a little further and make a nice little sweep around there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, because we have two corners like that, because the drive-through is in front,
Right.
most of the time we don't have one back there that would be an obstacle or try to get around.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we do feel comfortable with those.
You feel, okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Then the other one I'd like to ask you about is the, how do you put it, the outdoor patio area. As I understand it, it would be on grass. Is that correct?
Yes,
Uh,
yes, it is.
You feel okay about that?
I mean, it may be something that may change in the future. I don't know if the owner has, if there's issues that arise as a result of it, it gets muddy or something. But a nice grass area, people like to go out in a nice grass area and have coffee, sit at a bench or something or a table and almost like a little picnic area. I even thought about possibly something back there in the back where those two parking spaces are, maybe back there doing the same kind of thing, but that's kind of in the back where, the owner may not want some people in the back of the building like that. So, but, in a lot of cases, if you can't get a patio area that's, concrete, we wanted to minimize the amount of concrete and imperviousness on the site. And that was our first attempt to do that, was say, let's try this with grass. I mean, if it comes back and, the owner wants to, he says, well, the grass is not working out, we'll obviously bring a plan back into Zach and say, we want to make it more of a patio, do some pavers or something out there, or concrete.
Do you feel that with it being grass, there would not be an accessibility issue?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if, that's not an ADA requirement for a patio area like that in grass, but it may help if we could put some of those tables right along the sidewalk there so that someone in a wheelchair could kind of pull up to it.
I mean, I was just thinking, like you say,
Yeah.
not sure that there would be a specific ADA requirement. However, just the practicality of somebody who, why would they, how would they feel if they're going to be unable to get out and enjoy the patio
I understand.
in a wheelchair?
Yeah, I think
try to
we could do
about
something
that.
right along the walkway as it comes in there, which is going to be the ADA access from the street and everything as well, to put something on that side that has a bench that doesn't have chairs on that side, maybe, that you could wheel right up to it.
One recommendation, if this seems to be a recommendation of the board, is they could possibly put in a pervious patio system. If the applicant, but it's going to be an added expense, it's up to the board if they want to require some kind of a pervious or concrete or.
All right. Okay, then my last thought about, again, the patio was of course, the proximity of the patio being right there at the lane of traffic as they picked up their donuts and they're on their way out. Any kind of a safety barrier whatsoever at that curb or whatever of these people who are sitting there, kids likely, is there possibly a safety issue that we ought to be thinking about for that?
That's a good question. I don't know if adults would be traveling or traversing that, coming out that way. If you're parked there, you're going to be going back towards your parking spaces. But or if you walk there, you may, but you want to come back out to where we're going to have the handicap access coming across. There may be kids maybe running out there, maybe put a railing up there or something. I don't know. That may be something that would keep kids from just bolting out that way. And maybe that's
Well, that's
something to
what
think about.
I would be a little concerned about, especially, you're parked there, you pick up your donuts, and what most of us do, we pick up our food and we hightail it out of there. And being the configuration there, somebody darting out from the patio area, something could happen very quickly, even though the car is only going 5 miles per
Yeah, I
hour.
understand, yeah.
I just wonder if there could be any thought given to do this. A barrier of some kind, whether it's a fence, whether it's a bush, something that can help minimize the chance of a problem there.
Right. Well, most of the people that pick up their food is going to be coming out the other door. The front is actually not off of
Well, I'm just
towards
thinking
Silo
of the
Hill.
drive-through. You know, people
Yeah.
leaving the drive-through and they got their goods and so forth. That
That's definitely something we
if
could
we
we could
could,
work with staff on to see
think
if there's
about
something we
that
can come up
for-
there.
from a safety issue.
I think
Yeah,
some
definitely,
kind of,
definitely we don't want that liability for sure. So I understand. Thank you for the comment.
Right.
I think that's a good idea. I think having some kind of a railing there would be appropriate.
But yeah, you see a lot of those situations where they do solve the problem by putting up a short railing
Yeah, something small.
like that. Okay. All right, that's all I had. Anybody have anything else for?
You
For
answered
Rick.
My question.
Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you very much.
And I would like to add one more thing, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yeah.
The applicant has agreed, one thing I missed stating in the beginning, they are required to update each of the red areas with ADA accessible handicap ramps, and they have agreed to do that, so we appreciate their compliance with that. And that's the last thing.
Okay. Okay, next signed up for presentation, Chatal. Is that pronounced it right? Yes. Yes, please come to the podium and give us your name and your statement.
Shital Patel, I'm a Dunkin franchisee for over 20 years in Baltimore area and Baltimore County, Carroll County, Frederick County, and Washington County. I started my career in year 2000 and as a regular crew member, and I kind of built myself and build. We have about 25 Dunkin Locations now in Maryland, and I'm excited to be part of Emmitsburg now. I've been traveling this 15 a lot, to go to Frederick because I live in Westminster. So whenever I go to Frederick, I take Tawnytown and then Emmitsburg and then go to Frederick. So I always like this town, we are looking into buying an Exxon station at first, but then it didn't kind of work out. So. And even Dunkin brands, they liked this location more than Exxon because of the visibility and, the way it sits and the building and everything. So we decided to develop this property and make that into a Dunkin location. I just signed up, if anyone has any questions or, ask me anything, if I can answer anything.
Any questions from anybody? Any comments? Anything? Okay. Very good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank you.
your being here. Okay, Jason Scott.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
So my name is Jason Scott. I work with QSR&R Design Group. I've been doing architecture for about 15 years, working with Dunkin' Donuts for the last 7 or 8, worked with Chatal on many of his over the years. Looking forward to this project. Should be a good conversion, should be something that will work well with the town, kind of fit with the motif of McDonald's right there, kind of works with a lot of the color schemes in the area. It is the new next-gen look for Dunkin'. It's their newest iteration of design, so kind of on the cusp of the newer stores, which is nice. One thing I wanted to pick up on was what the question was about with the bushes or plantings in front of there. I would say with the nature of that seating area, what we've kind of done in the past is instead of a guardrail or something hard, something that's going to need painting, maintenance, we've done 3 or 4 foot high bushes, something that's kind of tightly compact, something a little more of a thorny nature. The kids aren't going to want to run into it. And then what I'd propose on the other side of it is as the vehicles are leaving that turning area from the window, because it is a little bit of a turn, they could go straight. We could add 2 or 3 bollards in there to protect the people that are on the patio area and also conceal it with the bushes. So if you're sitting there, you don't have the view of the cars and everything right there. You've kind of got a little more natural landscaping next to you. So other than that, I was just here for any questions anyone might have.
Okay, questions? The drawing that we have, is that pretty accurate as far as the color scheme you're going to do here?
Yes, yeah. Dunkin's new, they had gone with the browns and everything for so long. I think we're used to seeing the towers where it's just the continuous staggering brown and bright orange everywhere, and they kind of wanted to go a little more of the modernization. I don't want to say millennial, but the more muted tones, the more natural tones. So we've got wood fiber cement board. It's actually fiber cement board, but it's treated and produced to look like actual wood. So it's not just a brown painted board. It actually, when you walk up to it, has wood grain to it, has the characteristics, but it's not a wood material, so it will not need to be maintained, repainted. You're not going to have the wear and tear issues. The majority of the rest of the building is actually keeping the existing CMU that's there, painting it the gray tone that is current Dunkin color palette, and then adding a water table of some darker gray around the perimeter at the bottom.
Maybe a stone veneer or something on that for the,
It's going to probably be a split face type material. That's what we've had success with in the past. The main building right now is split face, so painting that gray is going to be a trick anyway, but once we get it the gray, it'll be able to maintain it, and then just putting another split face row in front of that, something thin, low, little stone cap on that. That'll keep it durable, keep it kind of with the materials that are there, that natural look.
and then you'll just be painting the metal roof?
Yeah, metal roof would just be painted the gray. Obviously, we're cutting it back, so on the one end, we're looking to do some sort of kind of tower entry element there. The brown is a wood tone material. Like I said, it's a fiber cement board. And then the darker colors that you're seeing, the slats in between there, those are actual 2-inch metal trim pieces that give us some little magenta and white accents up there, so it's not just a solid wall of wood. And then the awnings will be just metal orange. Typically, they're Mapes unistructure. They're kind of just this prefab metal awning, so it comes out pre-finished, doesn't need a lot of maintenance, repair, repainting.
Anyone else have a question or comment?
I have one just real quick. The signage, what Zach touched on signage. So you're just utilizing the building. You're not looking to put a
pylon sign or anything out there?
yeah, like along the.
Did we have one? I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Yeah, the existing one. We were looking to
Putting a Dunkin face on it.
so basically repainting that, and then it's already got the cabinet on it, so they just reface that cabinet.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Okay, then we have Lyle and Katrina. You wish to come to the podium and make a comment, or?
Yeah, I don't have any comment. I was just coming. I was very interested to see what was happening. So, yeah,
Okay,
glad to see it's all working out.
okay, well, thank you. All right. Okay, we've heard from Zach and some members of the community. We now open this up for comments and to look for an eventual motion. When we get to that, I'd like to, the way this was presented to us, we got several things to consider. If you go back to the memo that we received from the town planner and the town manager, the memo that give a real good summary of the whole project, and as well as the various motions suggested, comments, and conditions. I would think that perhaps what we should do is handle these in the same order that they were presented to us. If you look over on page 3 about the suggested motions, and the first thing that we have here is to move to, it's suggested that we move to approve the 2 requested modifications as stated in the town staff memo. So if we could deal only with those modifications first, and then to get into a motion dealing with the approval or otherwise of the Dunkin project as it is. So,
I'm going to make a motion to approve the 2 requested modifications as stated in town staff's memo dated October 16, 2019.
I'll second it.
okay, now we have a motion from Mark to approve the 2 requested modifications. And those modifications, as you can see, are over on page 2. The one modification dealing with the width of the drive on the site, that it would be to allow a 13-foot wide drive instead of a 15. And then the second modification would be to allow 15 parking spaces rather than 16. And this motion was seconded by Joyce. Are there questions, comments about the motion?
I have none.
Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to approve these two modifications, please say aye.
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 Opposed? It carries unanimously. On to the second item. Suggested motion is to conditionally approve the project Dunkin Silo Hill site plan with conditions. So in making this motion, please be very specific about what conditions you would want to have included with your motion to approve. Now, we got quite a list here, 22 as I understand it right now. So for a motion to be made, please be very specific about which of these motions, all of them or some of them, or how you would propose to do it. Quite a bit there to kind of think about. We've been given some explanation about each of these recommended conditions of approval. Is there any comments or a motion?
I have a comment and then a motion.
Okay.
So staff seems comfortable with all the recommendations or the conditions, I should say. And it seems like the applicant is comfortable with the conditions, and I was glad to hear that you're putting up the shrubbery around the patio area as a barrier. I like that. So I'm ready to move.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, if you want to add that as a condition to ensure the placement of the bushes. Also, if you're comfortable with the grassy area, or if you want to change that to concrete or a pervious pavement, that's the only other comments that I heard.
My feeling about the grassy area is if the managers of Dunkin find that to be an issue, I mean, if it turns to mud, I think they're going to fix it. So I don't think we need to require that, in my humble opinion. I like grass. I mean, there's lots of picnic areas on grass. I mean, our town park has grass, and so I'm not concerned about that. And if it does get to be an issue and customers complain, I'm sure you're going to fix it.
So are you
So-
wanting to make a motion that includes the 21, all those conditions that we have listed so far?
So I'm going to
Plus-
move to conditionally approve the Dunkin Silo Hill Lot 3 site plan, including the conditions that are outlined in the staff memo dated October 16th, and with one further addition that a barrier, a vegetation barrier, and whatever other hard barrier you think is required there at the patio area to protect your customers.
I think there was also, you said that about a standpipe issue.
Yes, if you'd like to add that as well.
That would be the second one to add. We've got a total of 23, as I see it right now on this.
Okay. Can I
So-
amend my own motion?
Just restate it.
So your suggestion about the standpipe,
It has the right fitting that's approved by the Vigilant Hose Company.
okay. So I'll restate my motion
Okay.
to move to conditionally approve the Dunkin Silo Hill Lot 3 site plan to include the conditions outlined in the staff memo dated October 16th, 2019, with the following condition that the applicant will install some type of barrier around the patio area to protect their customers of such design that, works with the site. And another condition that say it again?
Fitting.
The fitting will be installed for the fire department hookup.
That's good. Yep.
Okay, motion has been made by Mark to approve with the 23 conditions as listed. The 21 that are listed plus the 2 additional ones. Do we have a second for that motion?
I second
Okay, it's been seconded by Bernard. Any last comments, questions, or discussion about this motion? Anyone? Hearing none? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So, conclusion, the site plan for the Dunkin' Donuts is approved with the conditions. All right,
Thank you very
that takes care of that business, sure. Sure. Okay, on to item 8 would be for public comments. Does anybody else wish to speak to us this evening on other issues than the Dunkin' project? Nobody? Okay, very good. Pretty well concludes our agenda items. Kind of bring up right now, Zach, can we identify our next meeting?
Yes, we are tentatively going to have a meeting. We'll confirm it closer to the date on the 25th. Rutter's store number 84 has submitted their improvement plan. However, we have to work out some of the sewer and water comments.
Okay,
Of November?
Yep, November 25th.
okay. And then for Dunkin', they will still get to see a final site plan yet, will we not?
No, sir.
No, okay, this was the final. with this,
Exactly,
okay.
yes. Mhm.
Okay,
They're all ready to go now.
All ready
They
to
will submit the cleanup copy to staff.
yeah,
We will make sure the conditions approved by the board are on the plan,
okay,
and then they can apply for their zoning permit.
okay, very good. So please mark on your calendars, 25th of November is likely to be our next meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr.
It was just one quick question.
Sure.
It was in relation to the final plan. Does that come before the Board of Commissioners then, or is it? We're
No,
good-
sir.
Good to go.
We're good to go.
Okay.
The Board of Commissioners make the rules, and then the Planning Commission follows the rules and
Okay.
enforces the rules.
All right.
Yep.
Just curious. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Any
Sorry-
last questions?
Sorry about that.
That's
Now I'm
okay,
finished.
that's all right.
No, that's a good question because we have had some comments, questions about that in the past. The Planning Commission in Emmitsburg has the sole authority for any kind of improvement plans, site plans, forest conservation plans, and the like. So,
Okay.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Meeting is adjourned.